Assalamu alaikum. Welcome again to ICOI story time. It's almost Eid, so today's story will be an Eid story called Nabeel's New Pants, an Eid Tale, retold by Fauzia Jelani Williams. Illustrations by Proiti Roy. Read by Yousfa Janjua. Nabeel the shoemaker had been very busy. Tomorrow was Eid. All day people had been trying out new shoes and now they were all sold out. Ah, sighed Nabeel, at last I can go and buy some gifts for my family. He closed his little shoe stall and walked down to the clothes shop. Assalamu alaikum, Hamza, Nabeel greeted the shopkeeper. I want to buy my wife a burqa for Eid. Walaikum assalam, replied Hamza. I have just the one for her. And perhaps a dupatta for my mother? Asked Nabeel. How about this one? Said Hamza, pulling out a bright blue cloth embroidered with tiny beads. And some bangles for my daughter? Hamza showed Nabeel hundreds of bangles. It was very hard to choose. They were all so pretty. Nabeel was pleased with the gifts. He paid Hamza and turned to leave. Wait, called Hamza. What about you? Your pants are full of patches. Why don't you buy yourself a new pair? Ah, perhaps I will, said Nabeel. But when they looked, they found only one pair of pants. Nabeel held them up to his waist. 4 fingers too long, he said. He pulled on his beard and then looked up at Hamza with a smile. Could you shorten them for me, please? I'm so sorry, replied Hamza. Not today. I have to get ready for Eid. Why don't you ask your wife? That's a good idea. Nabeel nodded and hurried home. This is beautiful, exclaimed Yasmin when she saw the burqa. I love the color. I will wear it for Eid. Then she looked at Nabeel and said, Did you get anything for yourself? Yes, said Nabeel, a pair of pants. Yasmin held up the pants and frowned. These are 4 fingers too long, she said. Yes, said Nabeel. Could you shorten them for me? Not today, she replied. I have no time. Tomorrow is Eid. I have to make biryani. Why don't you ask your mother? Nabeel went to see his mother Habiba. Amma, I have brought you a gift, he said, and pulled out the bright blue dupatta. This is beautiful, exclaimed Habiba. I love the color. I will wear it for Eid. Then she looked at Nabeel and said, Did you get anything for yourself? Yes, said Nabeel, a pair of pants. Habiba held up the pants and frowned. These are 4 fingers too long, she said. Yes, said Nabeel. Could you shorten them for me? Not today, said his mother. I have no time. Tomorrow is Eid. I have to make sheer korma. Why don't you ask Miriam? Nabeel went to see his daughter. Miriam, I have brought you a gift, said Nabeel. He pulled out the bangles. They are beautiful, Abu, Miriam exclaimed. I love the colors. I will wear them for Eid. Then she looked at her father and asked, Did you get anything for yourself? Yes, he replied, a pair of pants. Miriam held up the pants and frowned. Abu, these are 4 fingers too long, she said. Yes, said Nabeel. Could you shorten them for me? I'm sorry, Abu, not today, said Miriam. I have no time. Tomorrow is Eid. I have to make samosas and take care of the baby. So Nabeel went back home, grabbed a pair of scissors, and cut off a few inches from the bottom of his pants. Then he hemmed the edges. My pants are ready for Eid, he said, and folded them neatly and placed them on the table. Then he called to Yasmin and said he was going to visit the poor and sick and give them money for Eid. While Nabeel was out, Yasmin said to herself, Nabeel is such a good husband. She unfolded his pants, cut off 4 fingers from the bottom, hemmed the edges, folded them again, and put them back on the table. Then she went into the kitchen to finish her cooking. While Habiba was making her sheer korma, she thought, Oh, Nabeel is such a good son. So she went to Nabeel's house, took out his pants, cut off 4 fingers from the bottom, hemmed the edges, folded them again, and put them back on the table. Then she went back home to finish her cooking. While Miriam was making samosas, she thought, Abu is such a good father. So she went to her father's house, picked up the pants, cut off 4 fingers from the bottom, hemmed the edges, folded the pants again, and put them back on the table. Then she went back home to finish her cooking. In the morning, everyone came to Nabeel's house so they could go to the mosque together. Yasmin wore her burqa, Habiba wore her bright blue dupatta, and Miriam wore her pretty bangles. Nabeel, said Yasmin, try on your pants. Just then Habiba came in. Son, she said, try on your pants. Miriam came along too. Abu, she said, try on your pants. Nabeel looked at them and thought, they are so wonderful. Even if they didn't have time to shorten my pants, they are still very wonderful. He went to his room to put on his pants. His wife and mother and daughter all waited with big smiles on their faces. Suddenly, from the bedroom, came a howl. Ah! What happened? Cried Yasmin. What's the matter? Cried Habiba. What's wrong? Cried Miriam. Nabeel stepped out of his room. Yasmin, Habiba, and Miriam all gasped and covered their mouths. I cut them by 4 fingers, said Yasmin. But I cut them by 4 fingers, said Habiba. I cut them by 4 fingers too, said Miriam. And I cut them by 4 fingers, said Nabeel. For a moment there was silence. Then Nabeel began to laugh, and they all began to laugh. Let's sew the pieces back on, said Yasmin. Yes, said Nabeel, and watched while Miriam and Habiba and Yasmin worked on his pants. In a short while, they were ready and they fit perfectly. Dressed in their new Eid clothes, off they went to the mosque.